4, 3, 2, 1.
Studio Classroom is Please stand by. Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. We are so glad that you are here. My name is Gabe, and today is a great day to learn something new.
Let's do that together. My name is Andrea.
Okay, so here's our question to get us started. Do you ever get impatient with slow internet speeds, Andrea?
Oh, Gabe. It's kind of funny because I'm older and I do remember the days of dial-up internet where you would actually have to almost make a call to say, hey, internet, I'd like to use you, and you had to wait for a while.
Is that where we had modems like outside of the computer and you could hear it going like
Wow, Gabe, that is
I remember that.
You were able to do that well. So today I'm used to high-speed internet. So when it is slow, I do get impatient, but sometimes I remind myself, Andrea, you've come a long way, or the internet has come a long way. I really shouldn't get impatient.
Yeah, that is such an interesting point, right? The things we get used to, sometimes we get used to so quickly that we get impatient with the way that things used to be. Anyway, friends, today we are going to talk about a company that is trying to do something about internet and broadband speeds for people all around the world. This lesson is called Starlink.
Yes, you may already know that this company belongs to Elon Musk's SpaceX. But let's find out about what Starlink is and what makes it special.
Starlink, satellite-based high-speed internet service. Have you ever gazed into the night sky, looking for constellations and shooting stars? Perhaps you've noticed something small and bright streaking across the sky. If it has no tail, you are most likely seeing a satellite in low Earth orbit, LEO. It was not until mid-2019 that seeing satellites with the naked eye started to become likely. On May 23, 2019, Starlink, a division of Elon Musk's SpaceX company, launched 60 internet satellites. This was just the first part of an ambitious plan to bring satellite internet with broadband speeds to people across the globe.
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 我们先来看 constellation 这个名词，意思是星座或是星群。譬如 the 88 constellations we still recognize today were picked in 1922. 现今仍然公认的88个星座是在1922年选定的。另外 a constellation of 是指群集，譬如The conference was attended by a constellation of well-known doctors and other health professionals. 这个研讨会出席的是一群知名的医师和医疗专家。再举个例句 The residents of the apartment building made a constellation of requests from fixing the leaking roof to a more secure entrance. 这栋公寓的住户提出了一大堆的要求，从屋顶漏水的修复到入口保全的加强。接着再来看 streak 这个动词，意思是疾驶或是飞奔。譬如 We watched a cat streak across our lawn as it tried to catch a mouse. 我们看到一只猫冲过我们的草坪去抓老鼠。另外 streak 也指留下条纹，譬如Marianne's hair was streaked with red and orange. Marianne 的头发有红色和橘色的线条。Streak 也可以做名词， 意思是指条纹或是线条。譬如 After playing by the stream, the little boys had streaks of dirt on their faces. 小男孩们在小河旁玩耍后，脸上沾上几条泥土。All right, let's get back to our teachers.
Well, you did a stellar job, Jack. Now, stellar is a word that's also related to stars, and sometimes we use it to mean awesome or amazing. So if someone did a stellar job, they did an amazing job. And Jack's a pretty stellar guy, wouldn't you say, Andrea?
Absolutely, Jack's a stellar guy. And Jack is also a star.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, well, let's get into our lesson about Starlink. Okay, we're learning all about stars. Well, not stars, but things that are out in space, okay? And we see here it's a satellite-based high-speed internet service. Of course, Starlink refers to these satellites that are created by Elon Musk's company, and it's related to the SpaceX company as well. And we see that one of their main goals is to provide high-speed internet service.
And we do all appreciate high-speed internet service, don't we? Well, I like how the article starts with the question, have you ever gazed into the night sky looking for constellations and shooting stars? Oh, this just makes me just relaxed thinking of looking in the night sky. Gabe, how would you answer this question?
You know, that is a good question. I really enjoy stargazing. You know, we talked about that idea last month or a couple months ago, just being able to look out into the night sky, that is stargazing. However, having lived in Taipei for so long, you know, Andrea, I don't do a lot of stargazing in Taipei because otherwise I'd be very disappointed. There's just a lot of light pollution and real pollution, you know, air pollution.
Yes.
So it's just a lot of smog. But I do like to get out into the countryside sometimes, like maybe at a, you know, a beach area where there's not a lot of city lights and get a good chance to look at the night sky.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. For me, whenever I gaze at the night sky, it gives me a sense of hope and wonder.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do see a shooting star. Gabe, when you see a shooting star, what do you do?
Well, I know some people like to make a wish when they see a shooting star. I guess that's the tradition, right? If you see a shooting star, you're supposed to make a wish. I don't really make wishes when I see shooting stars. Do you make a little wish?
Well, I guess I make a little wish, but I'm usually just so excited that I forget, like, oh, shooting star. I mean, I haven't seen them very often, actually.
Yeah, no, it's true. And sometimes there will be, you know, astronomers know when there's going to be a lot of shooting stars, and we call that a meteor shower, okay? And maybe they might announce it a few weeks ahead of time and say, on this night, if you go out between these certain hours, you can perhaps see some shooting stars. Because they're not really stars, of course. They are meteors entering our atmosphere. Anyway, we've talked a lot about shooting stars because I think we're interested in that topic a little more.
I agree.
But we should get into Starlink, okay? Perhaps you've noticed something small and bright streaking across the sky. If it has no tail, you are most likely seeing a satellite in low Earth orbit, otherwise known as LEO. So perhaps you're not seeing a shooting star, you've seen a satellite.
Our article continues with, it was not until mid-2019 that seeing satellites with the naked eye started to become likely.
Well, we want to take a look at this phrase, the naked eye, because it's kind of a unique phrase, right? This means the eye with nothing else, okay? So you're not using a telescope, 望远镜, to look into space. You're not using a microscope to see things that are really tiny if you're using the naked eye. You just have your eyes. Andrea, can we say you're using your naked eye if you have to use something like glasses or contacts? I think that's okay, right?
Well, yeah, that's okay. But I think, like you said, not a telescope or binoculars. But you know, this is interesting to me because it said it was not until mid-2019 that you could see them with your naked eye. But when I was a kid, we would always play a game, satellite or star.
Oh, interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
And we'd look in the sky, and if the star was moving, It was a satellite.
It was a satellite,
But
yeah.
I guess our game was not really.
Well, it was probably, you were probably seeing a different kind of satellite. That's for sure, at least, anyway, right?
I see.
It wasn't a Starlink satellite, not that our lesson's talking about. Anyway, we have more to learn about Starlink, but right now it's time for us to go to the info cloud. It's time to shoot for the stars.
Hello friends, welcome to InfoCloud. Today I want to talk about setting goals. Are you the kind of person who likes to set realistic goals or shoot for the stars? What's your answer, Mania?
What a great question for all of us to think about. I think I'm more of a person who likes to set realistic goals to make sure I really accomplish them. On the other hand, I know that Rex likes to shoot for the stars because he likes adventure and achieving great results. When a person shoots for the stars, that means they're setting their goals extremely high. They are usually very ambitious in reaching their goals. We all know that even though the stars can be dazzling and beautiful at night, they are very far away from us and even farther than the moon. So when we say a person is shooting for the stars, that means they are trying to accomplish something that is very difficult and almost impossible to attain. So friends, do you like to set realistic goals or do you shoot for the stars? That's something for us to think about.
当人们在设立目标时，有些人喜欢设立比较实际又确定可以达成的目标，另外也有一些人喜欢 shoot for the stars， 字面上就是瞄准星星，希望能够把它射下来。听得出来 ，shoot for the stars 的意思就是设立又大又难，几乎没有办法达成的目标。一个标准的例子就是美国传奇企业家 Elon Musk 马斯克，他企图把太空旅游成为一般人都可以进行的活动。听起来像是很疯狂的行为，但是他正在努力实现这个梦想。如果你要鼓励别人要勇敢做梦，你就可以跟他们说 "Shoot for the stars"。这就是今天的 InfoCloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Now it's time for me to give you a quiz. Are you ready?
A quiz, okay.
Okay. If you see something streaking across the sky, but it's not a shooting star, what could it be?
It could, oh, Santa Claus.
Gabe, it's not even December.
Oh, is that why it's not Santa Claus?
It's not Santa Claus.
What else could shoot across? Oh, a satellite. Especially those Starlink satellites, right?
You are right. Now let's learn more about Starlink as we continue our lesson.
Starlink. By keeping the satellites in a low orbit, Starlink can offer a service that is comparable to a cable or fiber optic network. Satellite internet service isn't a new development. Communications satellites have provided internet services to people in remote areas since the 1990s. Starlink isn't even the first company to attempt to create a network of low-orbit satellites. Teledesic, which was funded by Microsoft, tried to do the same thing, but went bankrupt in the early 2000s. Starlink is well on its way to success, however. By mid-2021, there were well over 1,000 operational Starlink satellites in the sky.
Alright， 再来看 comparable 这个形容词，意思是比得上的或是类似的。譬如 Sarah's washing machine is comparable in cost to her brother's. Sarah 的洗衣机价格跟她哥哥的那台不相上下。或是 Jimmy and Billy are twins, but they are not comparable in height or weight. Jimmy 和 Billy 虽然是双胞胎，但是他们的身高和体重差很多。Comparable 的名词是 comparability， 意思是相似性。譬如 Even though Billy and Jimmy are twins, there is little comparability between them. Jimmy 和 Billy 虽然是双胞胎，但是他们几乎不像。最后再来看 operational 这个形容词，意思是运行中的或是工作中的。譬如 The workers said that they would have Brian's boat operational by late afternoon. 工人说他们傍晚前会让 Brian 的船恢复正常运作。或者是 Even though airlines didn't fly much during the past year, they are almost fully operational now. 航空公司去年飞得不多，但是现在他们几乎完全恢复营运了。最后再来看一个例句 With all of the changes of the law, the operational plans of many police forces are being adjusted. 由于一些法律的修改，许多警力的执行计划也被调整了。All right, let's get back to our teachers.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Let's get right back into our lesson. We read here by keeping the satellites in a low orbit. Starlink can offer a service that is comparable to a cable or fiber optic network. Okay, so those are things that really help transmit or communicate very quickly here on Earth. And so that's their goal, is to be able to have those high speeds with these satellites.
Now, we learned that satellite internet service isn't a new development, but communication satellites have provided internet services to people in remote areas since the 1990s.
Right. So it's been going on for a long time. You know, people have been trying to advance, at least in the communications area and field, by using satellites since the 1990s. You know, we read about another company here. But Starlink isn't even the first company to attempt to create a network of low-orbit satellites. We learn about Teledesic here, which was funded by Microsoft, tried to do the same thing, but went bankrupt in the early 2000s. Well, I gotta say, if you're gonna try to send satellites, and many of them up into space, you need some money.
That's true. So if a company goes bankrupt, that means they don't have any more money. The business has failed. It's not successful.
Exactly. Okay, but we read on here. Starlink is well on its way to success, however. And before we continue on, let's take a look at that phrase. If something is on its way to something like success, we're not talking about physically going somewhere, even though they've sent their satellites physically up into space. The idea here is that you're on your way, you're heading in the right direction. If you're well on your way somewhere, that means you've already got a pretty good start. You already have, you've already begun your journey to success.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you might use this when talking about students. We have a lot of students watching our show. You could say that the student is well on his way to success in education. He's been doing really well at school. He's continuing the journey, or hopefully he or she will continue that journey.
That's right. And if he's studying education, you could say he's well on his way to being a teacher or becoming a teacher, right? So you can finish this phrase with other words besides success. However, Starlink is well on its way to success. By mid-2021, that is this year, there were well over 1,000 operational Starlink satellites in the sky. There you see that word well again, used in kind of a similar way. It's not just over 1,000 barely, or it's not just 1,000. There were well over 1,000, perhaps several hundred more than 1,000. I'm not sure.
Yes, I mean, that's pretty remarkable, the success that the company has had in a short time. Well, when you look at the sky, you might see the moon, right, Gabe?
Hey, we got some great conversations we could have about the moon and about the Moon Festival. So let's see what we can learn right now.
It's been raining all week. I sure hope it won't rain on Saturday.
Are you planning something outdoors?
It's Moon Festival. after dinner, my family usually goes to the rooftop to eat pomelos and mooncakes while gazing at the moon.
Ah, moon festival traditions. My family hasn't done that ever since we moved to the city years ago.
We've done it every year since I can remember. Gazing at a full moon with family is a wonderful experience. The moon looks especially big and bright this time of year.
Let's check the weather for Saturday. Hey, looks like it will be clear skies Saturday. Maybe I'll head up to my rooftop too.
Rooftop. Rooftop. Gaze. Gaze.
Full moon. Full moon.
Hey Bill, do you want to split this box of mooncakes with me?
What flavors are there?
Mung bean, red bean, and lotus seed.
What is the mooncake dough made of?
The dough is made from flour, syrup, and cooking oil.
I'd like to try the one with a lotus seed filling. It's really good.
Yes, it is. Don't eat too many though. Mooncakes are really high in calories.
Thanks for the warning.
Here, take some pomelos home with you. My boss gave me a big box and I can't finish it all by myself.
Okay, thanks. What are pomelos like?
They're like big, mild-tasting grapefruits.
Mung bean. Mung bean. Lotus seed. Lotus seed.
Pomelo. Pomelo.
All right, friends. Well, that about wraps it up for today's lesson. We just started learning about Starlink, but what do you think about this idea of having a lot of satellites in the sky? Is that something you've thought about before? Andrea, what do you think about having so many satellites, orbiting the Earth?
Well, I appreciate the satellites. I appreciate the high-speed internet and other things they offer us here on Earth. But it does kind of worry me because look at what we've done to Earth.
Okay.
We've added a lot of
trash
and pollution, and now we're also adding that to the sky.
That's a very good point. I saw that movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock, and that was one of the first times I thought about the idea of space debris. You reminded me of it because you talked about trash like in the sky and pollution, and it can actually be pretty dangerous because that stuff that goes around the Earth can go at pretty high speeds. I think we're going to learn a little bit more about that. We're going to learn more about the benefits and setbacks of Starlink low Earth orbit satellites next time right here on Studio Classroom. So make sure you join us then.
A friend cares at all times. A friend endures at all times. A good friend lasts a lifetime. I am so proud to have you in my life. A good friend lasts a lifetime.